always get such a great response from people, and we all take great joy in the fact that you leap to your feet at the sight of him, and that just triggers in him a look of just complete disappointment in you.
I thought you were smarter than that.
Toronto, Jim Beaver.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll just let you guys talk. Hello, agents. It may not be entirely clear to you, but I'm tired. Well, I'm glad to be here in Tarzanto. I really don't have to say anything, do I? Mutter a little bit, and you guys can fill in the rest. I just flew in from LA, and boy, am I corpuscles tired. Worked all day yesterday, flew all night, worked all day today, gonna fly all night. It's starting to sound like a folk song. Gonna work all day tomorrow. And usually at the end of most folk songs, the subject of the song is dead, and they go Johnny and Ray, and you know. They have folk songs in Canada?
Duh.
Like you were gonna say no. Well, I'm very glad to be here. I haven't been to a con in Toronto. Since 2013, haven't been in the city since I wrapped shooting Crimson Peak in 2014. And I'm going to try and get out of town this time and I'll get my head bashed in. So, there's a pile of you here. Tell the truth, you were expecting somebody else. Well, you know, I'm apparently making a career out of this taking over for John. So. Well, hell, if you don't want to do it, I'll do it. I'm sure, just like on the show, he's got a good excuse. I don't know where he is or what he's doing. He could be passed out in one of the rooms here. I don't know. So could I. Anyway, they call these panels, but they also call them Q&As. So I'm gonna make room for a Q. Hi.
So first, I just want to thank you for being here on such short notice.
I have a lot of laundry to do, but I put it on.
And also thank you for your service.
Thank you. You know it's for another country. They do it for you guys. Well, you know.
Also, I just want to know, what's your favorite Queen song?
My favorite theme song?
Queen.
Queen song. Did Queen do theme song? No, my favorite.
They did actually for Flash Gordon. That would be amazing.
My favorite Queen song. You mean by the band of that name? There are alternative answers. My favorite Queen song, well, there's a lovely film clip of Jared Jensen and moi doing, it must have a name, Bohemian Rhapsody. I just wish the gag reel had shown the entire clip, because we did the whole song. We were really good. I like to think. Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. Or Another One Bites the Dust. Another One Bites the Dust, that's a good song for doing CPR to. It's got the right beat. Sort of ironic, but Stay Alive is probably better.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Probably the first time I've ever been asked that question. Hi.
I was wondering if you have like a hidden or secret talent, and nothing lame, like for an example, I can bend myself in half.
You're going to bend yourself in half?
Yeah.
Is there a chance we could see that? Please, come on up here.
She said my thumb, didn't she?
Both at the same time? Okay. I couldn't do that in the park. Wow. That's impressive. That's pretty much the most flexibility I've seen all day.
I'm kind of lucky.
You feel lucky about that? Yeah. No, it's a great talent. In case you ever have to roll down a hill.
No, I tried that. It's a little scary.
I can, I don't have the talent for getting undone. That's a pretty stupid talent. But at my age, the fact that I even know where my back is pretty fascinating. Thank you. That's the extent of it. Thank you. Hi.
I do have a question, but first I have a little request. My friend couldn't make it, and I would really like it if you could tell Tori that she's an idiot.
Well, everybody knows that Tori's an idiot. Well, at least they do now.
She'll appreciate that.
Oh, I'm sure. I know I would.
My question is, did Bobby ever get to eat that peach cobbler from his neighbor?
In the world of romance on Supernatural, there's a whole bunch of stuff that Bobby never got to do. Next door neighbor's cobbler. There's Bills. And we aren't even talking about staying alive. So, no. In reality, that there were about 35 of those peach cobblers on the set, and by the time we finished shooting, nobody wanted to eat them because they'd been there for a week. They were starting to resemble plaster of Paris. They have that in Canada? But yeah, no. That's a highly satisfactory answer. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
That's good. I just realized 5 seconds ago your name is actually on my shirt. For those of you that can't read it, it says, "The 3 men I trust, Jack, Jim, and Jose," and it's 3 bottles of alcohol.
Yeah, my first name and the first 3 letters of my last name. There's a kinship there. Well, I'm I don't know what to say to that. Did I mention I was Tiger?
I do have a question for you.
Please.
So you have a daughter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. My standard question this weekend has been, what do you do to embarrass your child, and what do they do on purpose to embarrass you?
Well, it's easy for me. I just show up on TV. And she goes, "Oh, God. He's on again." No, let me think. What I do to embarrass my child, who is 16 now.
It's a very embarrassable age.
With great justification, is I remind her of how cute she was when she was 4. She refuses to believe she was ever less than 13. She could not possibly have ever been cute. She could not possibly have ever been a baby. Because she's too cool for school. And I like to bring that up. For example, yesterday we had guests at the house, and as one does, she came in and started playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on the piano while everybody was trying to talk. And I said something about how well she'd done with it, and then I said, "You know, I have a video of you singing that song when you were 2." And she said, "No, you don't. No, you don't. Don't say that in front of everybody." So I'm pretty good at it, actually, you know. And she returns the favor by, whenever her friends are over, doing Olympic level eye rolling whenever I say anything. And so she's, I think she's working up a sitcom called Father's an Idiot. She likes to embarrass me. And it's fairly easy, because, you know, at least from her perspective, I'm pretty stupid. So, but, you know, as Mark Twain once said, when I was 16, I thought my father was an idiot. When I was 21, I was surprised at how much the old man had learned in 5 years. Thank you. Hi.
So first thing first, I love you, Jen, and also welcome to Toronto. And secondly, will you let me hold this camera, like hold the conversation, because I don't want to miss any moment. Like
you don't want to miss any moment of this, huh?
Yeah. Now it's a serious question. Like we know Bobby Singer shares some similarity with John Winston. John Winchester and Brigus, who is like later on become to Crowley, and they didn't get a lot of loves from their parents in their childhood, and later on they grow to brothers, but they become like 3 different kinds of fathers. John is better like to raise their child into like soldier, and Bobby just ignored it. But Bobby is what kind of father I like. So what do you think it makes so different between them?
Well, the big difference between Bobby and John is the way their writers write them. They write them differently.
Oops.
I wasn't in a lot of John episodes, your guess is as good as mine. He's like their father, right? Yeah, okay. Well, no, I know who John is. He's the guy who never shows up at conventions. Well, I think it's interesting because Bobby seems to have, considering the upbringing Bobby had with his father, Bobby seems to have a much wiser approach, a much more balanced approach to how kids should be treated. You learn them the stuff they need to know, but you give them what they need at the same time. And I don't know, maybe John got a little stuck in the learn them what they need to know part. I should go back and watch season 1. But that's about as good an answer as I can come up with. Will I do?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Hi.
First, I just want to say thanks again for stepping up to save Sunday.
Nothing that any decent, probably attractive human being would do.
So my question is, what can we expect from this alternate universe Bobby? Are we going to see more of him in season 13?
Wouldn't that be nice? All I can say is...
Say it in Japanese!
Could be. Yeah, could be. I mean, they don't set things up like that without following through, right?
Right. Thank you.
Except when it comes to kissing Sharon Mills. Oh, well. There was a woman running the show at that time. Maybe she was jealous. I don't know. Hi.
Hi. You and your daughter go to a lot of Broadway shows, and you guys are big theater heads. You recently saw Hamilton. My question is, if you could play anyone on the cast of Hamilton, who would it be?
Can you see me?
I'm not drunk enough for that, so.
I'm sort of, I'm sort of melanin challenged for that show. You know, the Aaron Burr part is kind of cool. And how many of you have seen Hamilton? There's more people in it. It's a great show. It really is. To me, it lived up to the hype. But you know, I like playing. I like playing bad guys. Bobby Singer notwithstanding. But yeah, I think that'd be fun. And he doesn't have as many lines as Hamilton does, so it'd be easier to learn. Right?
All right.
And you know, the world's waiting to see me do hip hop. Hi.
My question is just, first off, I really love Bobby, and I was just wondering, what was it like to play the role of Bobby?
Well, it was great fun. It is great fun. He's one of the most fun characters I've ever played. He's smart and brave and funny and sarcastic, and except for the first three things, that's pretty much me. And you know, he gets to do cool stuff. And except in season 5, where all he did was answer the phone. Little help here, guys. It's been one of the 2 or 3 greatest parts I've ever had. It's been a blast. And then you get to work with a great crew that I love and adore like family. And you get to work with, oh God, what are their names? Jared. Starts with a J or a G. The guys who I'm now only tall if I'm not next to them. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. They're fun to work with. They are. They're a blast. Misha's fun to work with. He is. There's nobody on the show that I don't really enjoy being with. And that's cast, crew, everybody. And with a great part and great writing. This show doesn't get the credit it deserves for the writing, for the skill of the script. It's a show built on fabulous relationships. It's got scary stuff and exciting stuff, but it's mainly got family and everything that that means. And it's compelling, and it's funny, and it's rich. And, you know, just because the powers that be don't seem to know that, doesn't mean that us smart people don't know it. Hi.
So, whenever we see Bobby, we usually see him with older Sam and Dean, and we have like 1 or 2 scenes where he's with younger Dean. But how do you think it came to be, given Bobby's own relationship with his father and the fact that he didn't want to have kids? How do you think he overcame that and kind of adopted Sam and Dean? Like, did he just see that John wasn't taking care of him, or was it more like an inner struggle to take on that paternal role?
Well, I can't speak for the writers who are really responsible for all that, as I say, but first and foremost, well, another character I played on another show once said, "I'm a fellow who, if a boulder needs hauling, will haul a boulder." And I think Bobby looked around and saw that a boulder needed hauling. And he saw that the boys needed something they weren't getting. And I think maybe because of his upbringing, he saw a chance for redemption. It's one thing to decide not to be a real-life biological parent. It's another thing to walk away from something that he's doing. And I think Bobby's a guy who steps up when it's time. And it's not his worst quality. Thank you. Hi.
So Bobby was the lore master and he ran the network and did all these translations. I was wondering if you could tell me how he learned all the languages and what his approximate IQ was.
Well, his IQ was off the charts. At least the way I played it. How he learned all those languages?
Yeah.
He played tapes in his car, I guess. You know, we don't write this stuff. We just say it. You know, there were an awful lot of books in his house, and I suspect some of them were language books. But Bobby is an autodidact. He's taught himself everything he needs to know. And I think he's fortunate enough to be somebody for whom languages come easily. So, you know, he's a man who, if he needs to do something, he'll do it. And it kind of goes back to that other question, or that other answer. So, I don't know that he knows much about polishing silverware, but if it ever came up in a case that he needed to, I bet he'd be real good at it. So, that's not much of an answer. If you guys are talking anyway. Hi.
I got to ask Mark this question in a different aspect
Who?
a few years ago. Mark Shepard.
Who?
Crowley.
Oh.
So I just
The
want
guy who tries to grow a beard.
I just want to hear from your aspect, what was it like to kiss Crowley?
Don't want to ask about Sheriff Mills. I want to ask about Crowley. You guys remember what, you guys remember what Madonna said about kissing Dwight Yoakam? She said it's like a dirt sandwich. Well, Mark aspires to that. No, it was, you know, it was all in a day's work. It was just, you know, it's what we do. Sometimes we kill people, sometimes our eyes go black, sometimes we kiss men. You just, you know, you just show up for work and you do what they tell you to do. And then you get the biggest bottle of mouthwash you can find, and you dive into it. You know, and no, it was just work. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, Mark kept pressing for retakes, but one another. Just one more. I don't think I got that one right. Could I get one more time? We got it, Mark. We got it. We got it. We're not even going to show it happening. It's just going to be on your phone. I know, but I got one more. Thank you. Hi.
I was wondering if there was a particular piece of media or literature that had a big impact on you when you were growing up.
Yeah. There were two or three. There were 4 books that really impacted me in different ways. When I was about 12, I discovered the Tarzan novels, which I ate like the hot dog contest kids in Stand By Me. Or was it pie? It was pie. Anyway, you get the point. I didn't actually eat the books, but I figuratively devoured them. And they really opened my world up for me in terms of what reading could be. In the 9th grade, I read Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, which just knocked my socks off. And I remember I got in trouble because we were supposed to be reading it in class, and I finished like on the second day, and there was like another 3 weeks of reading it, and they thought I was faking. They thought I was being lazy and not reading, but I had already finished the thing because I stayed up all night reading with the little light on the electric blanket control. You know? And then in high school, I read the autobiography of an actor named Sterling Hayden. It's called Wanderer, and it was about his adventures as a seafaring man before he became an actor, and about his love of the sea and his love of writing, and that really colored the rest of my life in a lot of ways, philosophically and in my outlook on what's important in the world. I highly recommend it. It's my favorite nonfiction book. And then when I was in the service, I read Thomas Wolfe's Look Home, an Angel, which felt like, even though he was writing in the 30s, it felt like he must have hidden outside my window at my house, watching everything that happened and writing it down, because I identified so much with the story and with the main character. So those 4 books really set me on the path to the mess I am today. Hi.
Hi. First of all, I just want to say Great Expectations is my favorite novel, so it's awesome that you read it. And I did read it in 2 days in grade 7. And I'm just wondering, what's the #1 thing on your bucket list?
#1 thing on my bucket list. Right now it's sleep. #1 thing on my bucket list. Oh. I really want to go to Antarctica someday. I think that would be cool. I have this, it's weird, because I hate being cold. I really hate being cold. One of only a very few reasons I haven't moved to Canada. I really hate being cold, and yet I have this fascination with Antarctica. I read years ago a book about the ill-fated Scott expedition to the South Pole, and I just thought, what an amazing place. And probably there's something about the isolation and the sparseness and the cleanness of it. I'm sure that psychologically it gets to me. It's a place with no clutter, you know, unless you consider penguins clutter. And I just think I'd love to go there sometime. But it's a long way off, and it's cold. At least for the time being, it's cold. So, yeah, that's probably tops on mine.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
I want to start off by saying I really love your shirt, and
Is that for the shirt or the torso? It's the shirt, I know.
and the official animal is a beaver. So great shirt and great last name.
Pardon?
Great shirt and great last name.
Oh, yeah, well, couldn't help the last name thing, but I'm proud of it, so.
So
So in season 12, we get to see a Bobby different from the one we knew and loved in the earlier seasons. And if hypothetically we get to see more of that Bobby, how do you think he would build, like, a new relationship would form between Sam, Dean, and him? Because, like, it's not the paternal figure of Bobby we see. He doesn't know Sam and Dean. So how do you think a new relationship would form between Sam and Dean and Bobby in this other universe?
Who cares? I mean, he's stuck over there with Mary. Much more interesting relationship than we. But you guys know, you can probably tell where my head's at. It's a fascinating situation because the way I sense things, it's same old crusty, cantankerous Bobby, but he doesn't have the loyalties. He doesn't have the relationship that the old Bobby had with the boys. So I've actually been doing some thinking about how this could play out. Not that they're going to pay any attention to me, but I've been thinking, okay, how would that, what if, and I'm purely speculating out of my own head because this has nothing to do with anything they've written or planned that I'm aware of. But if alternative universe Bobby ended up back in our world with Sam and Dean, it strikes me as a really dramatic situation for them trying to deal with this guy who no longer relates to them the way they know and expect. But I have no idea if they'll let them take that route or any other route. But I think they've set up a really dramatic situation. But I got no idea how it's going to play out. So, like me, you'll have to stay tuned. Thank you.
So my question is, if you could change the way that Bobby died and have him be killed by like any of the monsters that are on the show, what would you want him to be killed by?
Would it be a monster if it was a jealous husband? Except for that, I mean, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You're going to get killed by a monster. It's there were those 2 girls helping a trickster in his first episode. Maybe if I got smothered to death. This will give you an idea why they don't let us write these things. It'd be 13 seasons of Bobby in a hot tub. And you don't want to see that. Thank you. Hi.
So first of all, you look great today for coming on such short notice.
It's an illusion.
So Bobby, of course, we all know and love from those earlier seasons, really doesn't take any bullshit. We know that he will take any opportunity to smack some sense into Sam and Dean. So after he died, the final time, do you think...
Final?
Do you think
Most recent.
Most recent, okay. Do you think that there would be any, like, if he could see from after he passed on from heaven, if he could see what Sam and Dean were doing, what's one moment, like, in particular that you think he would want to come and just be like, why?
Pretty much all of them. Wow. Well, in neither heaven nor in the alternate earth has Bobby been watching the show? So he doesn't really know what's going on with him. I don't mean to suggest that I haven't been watching, but it would make it easier to explain why I don't know what they've been doing lately. But I like to think that Bobby doesn't need a reason to slap them down. That it's just reflex now. So that's about all I can do with that question.
Thank you.
It's-
Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Beaver, Toronto. Jim Beaver!